The Atlantic is a mirror tonight. You lean over the rail of the world's grandest ship, and the water below reflects the stars so perfectly that the horizon disappears. The air is so still it feels like the ocean itself is holding its breath. Far off, the throb of the Titanic's engines hums through the decks. Steady, confident, unstoppable. Around you, laughter drifts from the first-class promenade. A man in a dinner jacket quotes poetry to a woman wrapped in furs. The brass band plays softly inside the lounge, the Blue Danube, a waltz that makes the night feel eternal. You can smell perfume and coal smoke mixing with the faint salt of the sea. You think of the number, over 2,000 souls aboard this floating city. No one doubts the word whispered in every conversation since Southampton. Unsinkable, you almost believe it yourself. How could a ship this vast, this modern, this proud ever fail? Below decks, engines the size of houses churn, pistons pumping, steam hissing. The stokers are stripped to the waist, their skin slick with sweat, shoveling coal into the glowing mouths of the furnaces. Up here, the night is cold. Down there, it's a furnace. The captain walks the bridge, glancing at the clock 11:30 p.m. The ship makes 22 knots, faster than any captain has ever dared in these waters. He trusts his lookouts. He trusts the design. He trusts the calm, the crows. Nest bell rings twice. A sailor testing it, not warning. Above him, the stars shimmer like shards of ice. His breath turns white in the freezing air. He pulls his coat tighter and rubs his eyes. There's no moon tonight, only starlight. And in that starlight, the sea looks blacker than ink. The Marconi operators below are still tapping out telegrams for the passengers. Love you, sailing perfectly. See you in New York. The wireless crackles. Another message arrives. An ice warning from a nearby ship. They pin it to a board, unread by the captain. There have been 6 such warnings today. None of them seem urgent. After all, this is the age of progress, and ice feels like a problem for smaller ships, slower ones. You wander the decks again. Every surface gleams. Polished brass, white enamel, glass lanterns glowing with electric light. The chill bites your face. Your breath curls upward into the stars. Someone mentions the temperature below freezing now. The ship's wake glows faintly, a silver trail cutting through the blackness. Down in second class, lights go out one by one. People dream of New York, jobs, families, the promise of a new life. Third class hums with quiet snores, children curled up beside trunks and blankets. Somewhere, a baby cries, quickly hushed. On the bridge, the officers sip tea, chatting softly. The lookout peers ahead again, eyes watering from the cold. He blinks hard, scanning the horizon. 11:39 p.m. He sees it something darker than the night itself, a shape forming where no shape should be. It's not clear at first. It looks like a shadow that refuses to move. Then his gut tightens. His mouth opens before he can think. Iceberg right ahead. The bell clatters 3 times. He grabs the phone, voice trembling. Iceberg right ahead. On the bridge, First Officer Murdoch reacts instantly. Hard to starboard, he shouts. The helmsman spins the wheel, muscles straining. Engines full astern. Down below, levers slam, steam hisses, gears grind in confusion. The ship shudders, groans, turns. But she's too close, too fast. The night seems to hold its breath once more. Then, a soft, almost polite scrape, like metal sighing against glass. The sound is wrong, quiet, anticlimactic. No crash, no explosion. Just a low, dragging whisper along the starboard side. You don't even feel it at first. Some passengers keep talking, laughing. One man sets down his cigar and frowns. Somewhere deep below in the mailroom, a worker feels water lick his boots. Murdoch steadies himself, listening. The engines stop. Silence floods the decks. The great heartbeat of the ship is gone. The cold rushes in. He turns to the captain. We've struck ice. The words hang in the air like frost. The captain's jaw tightens. Close the watertight doors. A bell clangs. Far below, steel doors slam shut one after another, echoing like tombs. Crewmen run through corridors, shouting orders. The ship's hum returns briefly as pumps engage, water slapping against bulkheads. 5 compartments torn open, enough to doom her. The captain doesn't know that yet, neither do you. You lean over the rail again, peering into the dark. You see nothing but small white flecks drifting past ice, glittering faintly like stars that have fallen into the sea. A few curious passengers gather, wondering what happened. A waiter shrugs, probably nothing, just a little ice. Someone jokes, maybe we'll get some fresh cubes for our drinks. Below, men wade through ankle deep water. They don't joke. Steam hisses from the funnels, venting into the sky. The ship feels oddly still, as if listening. Somewhere, the band keeps playing. The notes carry through the night like fragile hope. You can feel it now, the slightest tilt under your feet, barely noticeable, but it's there. The bow sinks a fraction lower. The ocean begins to claim its due. You stand on the deck, still unsure whether what you felt was real. The stars are bright, the air sharp, and nothing looks wrong. Yet something deep in the ship has changed. The vibrations that always hummed through the floor are gone. The Titanic, proud and living only minutes ago, feels strangely lifeless. A low voice breaks the silence, an officer calling for inspection. Crewmen hurry past you, faces tight, flashlights cutting through the dark. One of them nods politely, saying, "Just a precaution, sir." His tone is calm, but his stride is not. Below decks, the story is already written in water. Cold, black seawater pours through jagged seams in the steel. Mailbags float like ghosts in the mailroom. In the boiler rooms, men climb ladders to escape the rising flood, the hiss of steam echoing off iron walls. The watertight doors have sealed, but the ocean keeps pushing, relentless. The captain arrives on the bridge. His eyes dart to the list of damaged compartments, the numbers speaking louder than words. 5 are flooding. The ship can stay afloat with 4, not 5. A slow breath leaves his lips as the truth settles in. This vessel, this marvel, is doomed. He says quietly, "She's going down." No panic yet, only disbelief. Orders ripple outward like the first waves of a storm. Send out distress calls. Rouse the passengers. Prepare the lifeboats. The crew moves quickly, professionally, but behind every command lies something unspoken. There are not enough boats. You hear the whine of the wireless sparking to life. "CQD, CQD, come at once. We have struck an iceberg." Over and over, the message hammers into the airwaves. The operator wipes sweat from his brow despite the cold. His partner, frantic, mutters, "Try sauce, too. It's new. Be someone will answer." Down below, the band stops briefly, uncertain. Then, sensing unease among the passengers, they begin to play again, soft, cheerful, as if music could hold the night together. You feel the tilt more clearly now. The bow dips forward, and water laps at the lower deck rails. People gather in clusters, wrapped in blankets and confusion. A woman laughs nervously. "Surely we're not sinking," she says. "They said she was unsinkable." Her husband forces a smile. "Of course not, dear." The captain walks among them, hat low, voice even. "There's been a little accident. Please put on your life belts as a precaution." His calm spreads like a drug. People obey, but few truly believe. In the engine rooms, the men know better. They work by lamplight, sweating in cold that cuts to the bone, hauling pumps, trying to slow the flood. One slips, vanishing beneath the black water without a sound. 11:55 p.m. You pass a group of steerage passengers, confused, speaking in tongues of home. They've been told nothing. A crewman yells, "Life belts, get your life belts." They obey, clutching children, eyes wide. Somewhere a violin carries faintly through the corridor, absurdly beautiful. Midnight. The first lifeboat is readied. Officer Murdoch shouts, "Women and children only." The wooden craft creaks as it's swung out. The sea below looks calm, but it's a killing calm. Cold enough to steal breath in seconds. You watch as passengers hesitate. The deck beneath them still feels solid, the ship still bright and safe. "I'll wait for another." One man says. "We'll all go together." Few want to leave the comfort of light for the black void below. The first boat, number 7, lowers at 12:05 a.m., barely half full, only 28 souls inside a space for 65. As it drifts away, the people above wave politely, some even smiling, unaware they're watching the luckiest passengers alive. On the bridge, the captain asks quietly, "Any ships in sight?" The answer comes back, "None, sir." The wireless crackles again. One message answered, but the nearest help, the Carpathia, is more than 3 hours away. 3 hours. The Titanic has less than 2. The list grows steeper. The bow is already swallowing itself in darkness. You hear a deep groan from the hull, a sound like thunder rolling underwater. Somewhere inside, dishes crash, glass shatters, a piano slides across the floor. You feel the shift. You know, a young officer passes, urging everyone toward the lifeboats. His face is pale but steady. "Please, ladies, this way." A man protests. "Can't we all go?" The officer's voice cracks. "There's no time, sir. Women and children first." He looks away as he says it. The music changes again. Now Alexander's ragtime band, upbeat, defiant. The band leader's hands shake, but he plays anyway because silence would mean panic. By 12:30, half the boats on the starboard side have been launched. Each one carries fewer people than it should. Passengers still don't understand. Some even joke about breakfast in New York. The ship's lights glow warm and golden, masking the truth that below those decks, the Atlantic is winning. Then a sound rises from deep within, a long metallic moan, as if the ship herself is crying out. A woman screams, crewmen shout for calm, everything's under control. But the words ring hollow against the groan of bending steel. You look up at the sky again. The stars are still there, glittering cold and indifferent. The world above has not changed, but the one beneath your feet has begun to die. You can taste the salt in the air now, sharp and cold. It bites at your lips, makes every breath sting. The deck tilts farther forward with every passing minute, and the laughter that filled these halls hours ago has been replaced by a rising hum of fear. It's 12:45 a.m. Crewmen hurry past, carrying ropes, axes, blankets. You catch the look in one man's eyes, determined but hollow. He knows what you don't yet fully accept. The ship is doomed and time is running out. You glance toward the bow. The deck is slick with ice that fell from the iceberg itself. Passengers step carefully, clutching the rails, their life belts awkwardly tied over evening clothes. One woman mutters, "This can't be real." Her husband just nods, staring into nothing. Nearby, a young boy asks his mother, "When can we go back inside?" She can't answer. The wind is stronger now, cutting through even the thickest coats. Somewhere below, a steam vent releases a loud hiss, startling everyone on deck. The band still plays, now moving to the first-class entrance where the crowd is thickest. You hear the faint strains of Sweet Dreamland. The melody floats like a prayer above the noise. For a moment, it calms people, the illusion of control. Then a man rushes up from below, drenched, shouting, "Water's coming in fast. We need more boats down there." An officer barks, "Hold steady, back away." The man is dragged aside. You can see it in the eyes of those nearby, the panic spreading like wildfire through disbelief. 100 a.m. The ship's nose is buried deeper now, invisible under the black Atlantic. You can feel the deck angle more clearly. Standing upright requires holding the rail, and yet some people still refuse to leave their cabins. You overhear one gentleman in a silk robe insisting, "We're safer here than in some tiny wooden boat." His wife nods, clutching jewelry as if wealth could save them. Lifeboats creak as they're lowered. Crewmen shout, "Step in carefully, one at a time." Women cry as their husbands help them over the rail, kissing their hands before stepping back. "I'll be right behind you," they promise, though both know it's a lie. One man tries to climb into a boat, desperate, but a pistol fires into the air. "Stand back." An officer roars. The shot echoes, silencing the crowd for a moment. The man stumbles back, ashamed, his hands shaking. Down the deck, another boat is being loaded. A woman refuses to go without her husband. The officer hesitates. The minutes bleed away. Finally, he mutters, "All right, both of you. Quickly now." The ropes groan as the boat descends, swallowed by the shadows below. The wireless still spits sparks, the operator shouting into the airwaves, "We are sinking. Coordinates 41 degrees 46 north, 50 degrees 14 west. His partner listens, face pale. "No one's close enough," he whispers, "God help us." You look up toward the towering funnels, glowing faintly from within. Steam bursts out with a roar that shakes the air. The sound rolls over the ship like thunder, drowning out the cries, the music, everything. Then silence again. Thicker, heavier. 1:20 a.m. A strange calm returns, the kind that comes just before the worst of a storm. The stars glitter cruelly above, so peaceful, so far away. The sea is like glass, still, waiting. A sailor walks by carrying a child, the boy wrapped in a blanket. He places him into the next boat, pats his head, and turns back toward the crowd. The mother thanks him through tears. The sailor doesn't reply. You hear someone shout, "We need more men to the oars," but few step forward. Most of the remaining passengers are men now, resigned to waiting, watching. Their faces are ghost, pale in the electric light. Then the lights flicker. For a heartbeat, everything dims. Gasps ripple across the deck. The lights flare again, flicker once more, then hold steady, but weaker, as though even electricity is losing faith. The captain stands near the bridge, silent, his breath fogging in the air. His eyes trace the horizon, searching for lights that will never appear. He knows the Carpathia is still miles away. He says softly to his officers, "Gentlemen, it's every man for himself." They salute him quietly. No one speaks again. You hear a sound like tearing fabric. The ship's innards straining under pressure. Pipes burst below, steam screeching up through vents. The deck trembles. Somewhere, metal gives way. A deep groan echoing through the hull. The list worsens. Plates and chairs slide across the promenade. People stumble, fall. A woman screams as a lifeboat nearly capsizes on its way down. The officer at the davit shouts, "Cut the ropes." It splashes sideways but rights itself, vanishing into the dark. 1:35 a.m. The band changes its tune again. "Nearer, my God, to thee." The notes tremble but do not break. Many stop and listen. Some pray. Some weep silently. A few stand completely still, eyes closed, faces lifted toward the stars. A man near you whispers, "If this is the end, it's beautiful." Farther aft, another lifeboat leaves, the last but one. Officers are now grabbing whoever they can find to fill the seats. Even so, dozens remain on deck. Hundreds more are trapped below, unable to climb the slanting stairways. A child cries out, "Papa," and you see a man push through the crowd, shoving others aside to reach his daughter. He lifts her, holding her tight. "It's all right, sweetheart," he whispers, voice breaking. "We'll be together soon." He hands her to a sailor, who lowers her into the lifeboat. The man stays behind. He doesn't look away as she drifts into the night. You feel the cold deepening. The wind cuts through your clothes like blades. Your fingers are numb. Your breath fogs thick in the air. Somewhere below, the waterline creeps closer to the grand staircase, flooding through carpets and chandeliers that once sparkled. The ship groans again, louder, longer. You feel the vibration through the rail. Then a jolt throws you forward as the lights flicker violently, almost going out completely. Gasps rise around you, then the bulbs flare once more, weaker now, glowing a sickly yellow. The bow is almost fully submerged. The stern lifts higher and the deck's incline grows steeper. The once proud ship is now an enormous iron hill, tilting toward the sea. You grip the rail, knuckles white, trying not to slip. Below, you hear the cries of those already in the water. Thin, distant, horrifying, the sound of hundreds of voices carried on the wind. A man beside you makes the sign of the cross. Another stares blankly into the black horizon. Somewhere behind you, a crewman shouts, "Last boat." This way, you turn toward the sound, but the crowd surges. Panic breaks loose at last. 1:45 a.m. The calm is gone. Now it's chaos. Men shout, women scream. The ship groans like a dying beast. The bow has vanished beneath the surface, and the stern points toward the stars. Everything once elegant, the grand staircase, the polished brass, the crystal chandeliers, is now broken, tilting, drowning. You grab a railing as the deck slips beneath your feet. Water rushes in, black and merciless, sweeping chairs, luggage, and people alike. A lifeboat overturns as it's lowered, spilling passengers into the freezing dark. Their cries slice through the wind high, sharp, unforgettable. Crewmen yell, "Hold the line," but the ropes snap with gunshot cracks. Another boat falls sideways, hitting the ocean with a sickening thud. It's too heavy, too late. On the starboard side, the band still plays. They're soaked to the knees now, their instruments slick with condensation. The cellist looks at the violinist and nods once, they know. And still they play. "Nearer, my God, to thee," drifts through the air, broken, beautiful, defiant. 1:55 a.m. You can see your breath clouding in front of you. The deck is a nightmare of motion, people crawling, clutching railings, praying aloud. One woman clings to a bench, screaming for her husband. A priest kneels beside a group of passengers, reciting prayers in Latin, his voice trembling but steady. The lights flicker again. The great ship's heart is failing. You can hear the thud of collapsing bulkheads somewhere below. The engines have stopped. The only sound is metal groaning, wood cracking, and the rising roar of water. Then darkness. For a split second, total black. Gasps, cries, someone shouts, the lights. And then they return dim, golden, ghostly. You can see only faces now, pale, terrified, frozen in disbelief. 200 A.M. The ship's stern lifts higher, nearly 40 degrees now. People slide down the deck into the freezing water. Some try to climb railings to avoid falling, their fingers slipping on ice. You hear one man yell, "Jump, swim for it." But there's nowhere to swim, just an endless black sea. From the aft deck, you can see the propellers rising out of the water, massive, glistening in the starlight. The sheer scale of it steals your breath. You're watching a mountain of steel die before your eyes. A deep, echoing boom rolls through the hull. The ship shakes violently, cracks open along the midsection. Metal screams as it bends and tears. People lose their footing, sliding toward the water. You grab onto a bench, your nails digging into the wood. The air smells of oil, iron, and salt. 2:10 A.M. The break begins. A thunderous roar, steel twisting, bolts snapping, decks splitting. The Titanic cracks between the third and fourth funnels. The stern rises higher, the bow dragged down by the weight of the sea. You see people thrown into the air like rag dolls, the sound deafening, primal echoes across miles of ocean. The lights flicker once more, then die for good. Darkness swallows everything, only the stars remain. The ship is now 2/2 the bow gone beneath the surface, the stern crashing back onto the water, trembling. For a moment, it floats again, eerily level. Survivors cheer, faintly, hope flaring for a second. But that hope dies as quickly as it came. Water floods the stern. It begins to lift again, higher, faster. 2:17 A.M. You hear a final shout from the captain, a voice carried by the wind. Every man for himself. Then silence. You see him walk calmly into the bridge, the light of a lantern flickering behind him. He doesn't return. The stern now stands nearly vertical. People cling to anything, railings, pipes, each other. Some jump, vanishing into the black. The sound of bodies hitting water mixes with the cries of those already freezing. You're hanging onto a railing near the very top now, boots slipping, muscles trembling. The ocean below is chaos, lifeboats scattered, people screaming for help, debris everywhere. The air is so cold it burns your lungs. Then, with a final, haunting groan, the stern begins its last descent. The deck tilts sharply. You lose your grip. For a moment, you're weightless, falling through the cold air. The ship slides beneath you, swallowed by the Atlantic. The sound of rushing water fills your ears. Then nothing but the black, freezing sea. You hit the surface hard. The shock steals your breath instantly. It's like knives driving into your chest. You gasp, but the air is gone. Salt water floods your mouth. You kick, flail, break through the surface. Around you, chaos voices screaming, crying, praying, then fading. You find a piece of wreckage, a broken door, floating amid the debris. You grab hold, shaking uncontrollably. Your fingers are numb, your teeth chattering so violently you can't speak. The cold seeps into your bones, deeper with every second. The stars above are cruelly bright. The sea is littered with people, hundreds of them floating, calling weakly for help. Some go silent mid-sentence. Others whisper prayers until the cold takes them. You can hear a faint melody somewhere in the distance, a few last notes of the band carried on the wind, then nothing. Only the sea. 2:30 A.M. The Titanic is gone. Where she stood moments ago is now just darkness, a black, silent ocean. The screams fade one by one until there's only the hiss of the wind and the gentle lap of waves against floating debris. You cling to your piece of wood, staring at the empty horizon, breath shallow, heart slowing, and in that frozen silence, it hits you: the greatest ship ever built, the pride of an empire, has vanished beneath your feet in less than 3 hours. 3:00 A.M. The cries have nearly stopped. The ocean, moments ago alive with desperate sound, now lies eerily calm. Only a few scattered voices remain, hoarse, faint, fading into the night. You hold onto the wreckage with the last of your strength. Every heartbeat feels slower, heavier. The cold has numbed everything, even fear. The stars shimmer above, endless and silent. Somewhere beneath them, 1,500 souls hang between life and death, their breath turning to frost before vanishing forever. You hear the slosh of an oar. A lifeboat drifts by, its lantern weak, the faces inside pale as ghosts. Someone whispers, "Is anyone there?" The question floats across the water, fragile as glass. A few soft cries answer, but the boat passes on too full, too afraid of being swamped. The lantern's glow fades, leaving darkness once more. You close your eyes. Time stretches and folds. Minutes or hours you can't tell. The sound of the sea becomes a lullaby, cruel and gentle at once. 4:00 a.m. A faint glow appears on the horizon. At first you think it's a star, then a trick of exhaustion. But it grows soft orange, flickering the promise of dawn. The ocean glitters silver, gray under the first light. Around you, debris drifts in every direction. Deck chairs, life belts, pieces of fine wood, lifeless hands reaching toward the sky. You hear someone shout, "A ship, a ship." Weak voices rise in disbelief. Shapes move among the lifeboats, people pointing, crying, praying. And then, through the mist, she appears. A dark silhouette with a single plume of smoke. Carpathia. The name passes through the survivors like a spark of life. Over here, someone screams, flares are lit. The bright red fire hisses and cracks, staining the fog crimson. The rescuers row toward the light, pulling in the frozen and the half alive. Arms reach out from the boats, dragging bodies over the side. Some gasp and cough, others do not move at all. You feel hands grabbing you, pulling you up, wrapping you in blankets that feel like fire against your skin. You collapse in the bottom of the lifeboat, barely conscious, breath ragged, body trembling uncontrollably. The last thing you hear before darkness claims you again is a voice whispering, "You're safe now." Morning, the sky burns gold and blue, the kind of morning that should mean life. But everywhere you look, there is loss. The survivors huddle on Carpathia's deck, wrapped in wool, staring into nothing. No one speaks. Steam curls around them like ghosts. The sea, calm and endless, hides everything it took. An officer walks by, counting softly under his breath. Names, numbers trying to make sense of the impossible. 705 saved. He murmurs, out of more than 2,000. You stand at the railing, staring back toward the empty horizon. Somewhere out there, 2 miles below, lies the Titanic, the grand staircase, the chandeliers, the rooms still lit in memory. Her story already feels unreal, like a dream collapsing with the dawn. Beside you, a young woman clutches a photograph, the salt of tears blending with sea spray. Another hums a hymn beneath her breath, almost soundless. The captain of Carpathia stands near the bridge, hat off, eyes fixed on the sea. For a long time, no one moves. Then, as the ship turns south toward New York, the wind carries a single note, the creak of wood, the soft murmur of waves, and beneath it, something that feels like a heartbeat fading into the deep. You breathe in, the air sharp and new, but part of you stays behind, frozen in that black water with all the voices that will never answer again. Later that week, headlines scream across the world. Titanic lost, over 1,500 dead. Crowds gather at the docks, faces white with disbelief. Mothers, sons, lovers waiting for names that will never come. In the years to come, people will argue about what happened, who was to blame, what could have been done. But you, who felt the ship shudder beneath your feet, know the truth. It wasn't arrogance alone that sank her. It was faith in steel, in speed, in man's power to master nature. And on that night, nature reminded the world who still ruled the sea. You close your eyes and see it again, the gleam of the grand staircase, the hum of engines, the laughter over dinner, and then the sudden silence, a lifetime contained in 3 hours. The Titanic rests now in darkness, her decks coated in silt, her windows shattered, her name still legible beneath the rust. Time has claimed her, but not her story. It lives on not in her grandeur, but in her people. In their courage, their love, their songs that played to the end. As the Carpathia sails on and the last survivors disappear into history, one truth remains like a whisper beneath the waves. Some ships never stop sailing, they just move into memory.